Recently, some land along Highway 72 in Abbeville County, South Carolina was cleared for a new business. But in the midst of the clearing, a lonely grove of trees remained standing, a telltale sign that caught my attention. Sure enough, when I looked closer, I could see a few tombstones standing out among the underbrush. We stopped to ask the owner if we could explore and were given permission. It was a cold, windy day, but any day is a great day to discover history. At the end of the video, I will explain the stories behind the names of those buried here that I have since found out through my research. We are just on Highway 72 going toward Greenwood, and they have recently clear-cut this land and put in these storage containers all around. It's real windy. I hope my voice is sounding okay. But we noticed in the woods up here there was an old cemetery, so we asked the owner could we look around, and he was fine with that. We have heard it might be French Huguenots, but I'm going to investigate and see that. But this first part has the borders with an old wire fence around it, and I'm assuming maybe this was a particular family that was in this small area. It's hard to read the tombstones. Here's a small one that we saw here. Very hard. Mary, we're not sure of the last name. I can look this up and put that in the video. M-A-R is the footstone. There's also another one here that we found. There's some indentions in the ground, so we know there's others here. There's also some stones in this area, probably representative of an old grave. Then we came out of this area, walked back to the back part that's outside of the fenced area, and found multiple graves. We don't know, maybe 20, 30 total. There's an old can here. Not sure what that's here unless there used to be an old house in this area. Lots of fieldstone markers. Footstone here. Another fieldstone marker here. Then a larger stone here. And it's been propped up with bricks. Another small one here. Maybe a footstone. One here. Martha. We're not sure about this one either. Just very difficult to read, at least here in the light. Might show it better on my phone. Stone here. Here. The base of a stone right here. So that one's probably buried under the leaves here. One here. Several out through here. There's one back there. Here. Here. There. Large one here. Small one here. 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 There's a large one back here. Like I said, lots of indentions in the earth. It's amazing how these things can just be covered up for so many years, hidden in the woods, just right off the highway. Here's the highway. You can see the cars going by. Pretty heavily traveled highway. Stone here. There's others out in here. Here's a piece of one. Even out into here. Out here. Here's one. Here. Here. Just recently uprooted tree, or at least at some point. Could have even been back from when the hurricane come through. Small one here, here, there, back over here, and there. We'll come back up this way. There was another larger one that I saw. I can't see all the ones. we have this one. It's got a brick, probably was maybe one of the brick burial boxes of some sort, or maybe just bricked up in a wall around it. There's one there, and the brick's kind of out in here. One that's on this side, but you can't read it, but you can see the etching across the top. And then this one back here. So that's just a little quick overview, missing so many along the way. But a quick overview of what's back here in these woods. And back here, I think the earliest we found, I'm not sure because it's hard to tell, but we had heard this was from the a lot of these people born that were buried in the cemetery were born in the 1700s. But just kind of sad to see the world going by out there, not knowing this is over here or caring. We did hear that the owner said that somebody had stopped by at one point wanting to clean this up, and they have not come back by. He wanted to finish the area that they were working on around here, putting in these storage containers, and then was okay with it getting cleaned up. The group has not come back by, so if anybody knows of a group that's willing to do that, the owner is all for it. But the plans for the future are that this cemetery is going to stay. Nothing's going to be done with it or to it, except maybe getting it cleaned up, and we certainly hope so. We have found out quite a lot since our first exploration. We found out this is called the Gray Jones Tolbert Riley Cemetery. There are 16 documented graves, but there are many others that are only marked by simple filled stones. The section of the cemetery that's fenced in appears to be members of the Riley family. The oldest documented grave in the cemetery is that of Henry Gray. He was born 1786 and died 1831 and was a native of England. He moved to this area and settled near his friend Thomas Jones. Gray was said to have been wealthy and the owner of a very large amount of land. His tomb was originally a brick tomb about 5 feet high with a large slab inserted in the front wall, and for many years was spotless white. Today, all that remains is a weathered tombstone and a few scattered bricks. It's thought that the bricks were removed many years ago to build hearths or even a furnace for a moonshine still. Just behind Henry Gray's grave is the grave of James Y. Jones. He was the son of Thomas Jones, Henry Gray's friend. James Y. Jones' wife Elizabeth is also buried nearby. They had 5 children together. Only one is in the cemetery, and that would be DeWitt Young Jones. Next, there were several members of the Tolbert family, Dan and Mary Tolbert, and then they had a son, James Tolbert, who was married to wife Rebecca Major Tolbert. They had a daughter, Martha, who married Levi Strawhun. And unfortunately, Martha passed away on August 2nd, 1853, and then her father, James Tolbert, passed away August 21st, 1853, and Levi, Martha's husband, passed away just a year later. So wife Rebecca Major Tolbert ended up moving to Florida, passed away there, and is buried in Columbia County, Florida. The next documented family was the Riley family. Andrew Riley and his wife Mary. Andrew is buried in the cemetery. Mary probably is, but there's no documentation of her tombstone there. They had a son, Dr. Daniel T. Riley, that is buried there as well, and they also have a son, Private William N. Riley, who was killed at Gettysburg and is buried in the Magnolia Cemetery in Charleston. There's also a Thomas Riley Jr. who married Mary Ann Tolbert Riley, so that shows how those two families have a connection in the cemetery. They had a daughter, Mary E. Riley, who died at 5 years old. It was special to discover the lives of these people who once lived and walked the very ground that we were walking. These people were not French Huguenots, so we were able to solve that mystery and to find out so much more other than just the name on the tombstone. Thank you for joining us at Faded and Forgotten History as we discovered more about the Gray Jones Tolbert Riley Cemetery. If you enjoy our channel, make sure you like and subscribe.